I am going to be ranking the best 2Ks, NBA 2K14 all the way up to NBA 2K25 based off that goddamn gameplay. Part gameplay, rec gameplay. That's basically the main premise of this tier list I'm gonna give y'all. Now, this will make a lot of y'all upset, but I don't care, man. Y'all can put down below your tier list. Make sure you hear my reasons why, and it will probably make sense to you, okay? And there will be a lot of education because, you know, I am old as hell, right? So when y'all was like little kids playing these games, I'm a grown man, right? And I've been a god. So a lot of y'all woke up in later 2Ks. I made the 91% standard, okay? I've been cooking people in hella games, game battles, all that. You know, I used to be ranked #1, okay? So my awakening on video games happened at a child way long ago. Right? So yeah, so you know, it's not no nostalgia. You know, nostalgia would be Smash Brothers for like me, man, or some damn Mario Party type. Now let's rate NBA 2K14. This is one of the most underrated 2Ks ever. Great 2K. We're gonna be short on 14, right? My memory really starts in 15. I still remember everything about 14 pretty much, but not as clear as 15. 15 is where everything, I'm gonna explain it OD, right? 14 was peak realism, okay? Amazing, immaculate 2K, one of the most underrated 2Ks. Immaculate offense, immaculate defense, speed gap, skill gap, fun gap. Peak part, you know, it was immaculate. A lot of the moves in 15 and 16 were in 14. A lot of people just didn't know how to do them, okay? 14, people didn't really know how to get saucy like that. 15 was when everyone, no, not everyone, but the top tier that know everything, 15 was when it was there. The dribble gods, all that. A lot of y'all think dribble gods came like in 17. They were there in 15. The same guys, the I run yous, all them boys, they were there in 15. But you just didn't know. But and they was spamming crazy. We knew everything about the game. We love these games, guys. But 2K14 was so damn good. Peak realism, okay? A lot of people say the golden era 2K were arcade 2Ks. They were not arcade 2Ks. They were peak realism 2K. Speed gap, fun gap. You could really react. Like, it was way less lag and latency than all these newer 2Ks. I promise you, I'm not lying, bro. There were less delays. There were less canned animations. There was a way higher responsiveness. You wouldn't get caught in so many different moves like you do now. And there weren't as many limiting factors that they do now to nerf the top players. So you could really, if you were really God, you're God. One person could just annihilate. Like, if your skill is that high, you know, but 14, one of the peak 2Ks. I used to play with my RLs back then. I used to be running through people, okay? My RLs stopped playing 2K with me in 14. And the Destiny, I think Destiny came out 2K15 somewhat. But they stopped playing with me. I was just God tier, and I don't know, I guess I was just talking too crazy, being a little damn twin. But yeah, definitely one of the most underrated 2Ks. Even the dribble gods, man. The ones that never play 14, they go back and touch it, and they're like, what? What is this? Right? All the sim guys, they love the golden era 2K, and they would say them games are way more realistic, you know, but there's a misconception out there, and it's very annoying. Now, 2K15, there's such a misconception about 2K15. It's so annoying. It's so wrong, right? We're gonna put 15 ahead of 14, right? This peak 2K, peak realism. I know that might sound crazy because everyone says there's demigods and all this and that, but that came out at the end of the game. You can't base 2K15 off of that, okay? I was not a little NPC kid. I was God. This is where I created the standards. I created all your favorite ISO YouTubers. I was the standard, the blueprint, okay? Bunch of my sons are all out here, man. You see the personality in the community. I am the beginning. 15 was where it began, okay? There's people with millions and millions and millions of subs. This is where they was watching your boy Swan. The beginning. I started the news, all that. 15. Enough about me. 2K15. The offense was immaculate. Besides that damn crossover 16 spam. That shit was annoying. But the offense was so peak. You could play realistic and compete with the meta. The momentum crossover was peak back then. Not the new y'all grew up with. Peak. You could real speed, just like it is in real life. Real effectiveness. The behind the backs. The chaining of the moves. There was so much freedom. especially before they kind of nerfed the zigzag left right, bro. Oh my god, I wish you guys, if they ever remade a 2K and like made the gameplay like that, you guys would actually lose. You might cry, man. This was so peak. The defense was so peak, right? A lot of y'all might think the shooting was all easy and all this RNG, bro. I was God on 15. I'm telling you how it was. 15 was one of the hardest shooting 2Ks. Not this RNG. RNG's in every 2K, but it was one of the hardest shooting 2Ks before they listened to these old heads crying about the game, saying it's too hard to shoot. It used to be hard to score 40 in the rec, guys. Are you hearing me? Like the top players, like it used to be hard to score 40 in the rec. Now the top players can score hundreds. You know, when patch 4 happened, or I think it was patch 3, patch 4 happened, they cooked the contest system, guys. Anyone could shoot, and that's just normal for all 2Ks now. It used to be very hard to shoot. The defense was pretty immaculate. The perimeter D was kind of cooked with the crossover 16, but now that's just, but now that's just normal size ups now. Everything's like basically crossover 16. And like so many of the 2Ks, like the pushing to the side, basically the crabbing, but you couldn't do that in the golden era 2K. The defense was still, the skill gap was so high. The skill gap was so high in 15. It might be the highest skill gap. That in 16, the highest skill gap 2Ks by far. And it's not even close. I promise to God. It's not even close. Like you had to really be him. Like there was like learning curves. There was a real skill gap to being a center, especially on 15. The rebounding, you could literally win your team a game by being a comp center. Now it's just like a dumbed down position. You just, but I'm telling you, bro, it was a different era. But yeah, 15, you could play realistic and compete with the cheesers. There was hella combos. Hell of like, I wish y'all could have seen it, man. But yeah, 15, I beat so many 2K League players in their prime. They were in their prime in 15. I know y'all probably think people were bots back then. People learned how to play. No, they were in their prime. Like as good as you could get at the game possible, they were them. Okay, that was like their prime. People's primes is the 2K that they love them, right? I used to play J Money. They used to stream snipe me all the time. I was in the top 100 chat. I'm telling you, 15 was peak, man. There were no Hall of Fame badges. There were no takeover. You couldn't do all this fading from the damn 3 like that before the damn patch 4 and all this, and you still really couldn't do the fades like that. And the demigods didn't come out till the end of the year, like the last 3 months or some or 2 or whatever. How does that represent the whole game? And then only 1% of the player base had demigods. Almost no one knew about 7 foot my player. So you can't use that to represent the game when almost no one that wasn't the player base, bro. And then it wasn't even on YouTube like that. So that's why it also had like short mod players. I had a 6'8" all year. I would play demigods every now and then in the stage, like when towards like the end of the year, and it would be annoying, but I could still beat them. But they were never in the park. None of that. Maybe some y'all see is when like 16 or 17 was out and people went back, and then it could look a little crazy. But I'm telling you, during the cycle, that's just peak, bro. NBA 2K16, the greatest 2K ever. All NBA fans, 2K fans, they all know this. Realistic sim heads think 16 the greatest. The people y'all claim are arcade heads, they think 16 the greatest. It's the best of everything, okay? This is when you could also play realistic and beat the meta. There was so much diversity in moves in these 3 2Ks that it was just so beautiful, bro. This is when defense was in its prime, lateral quickness, all that, perimeter defense. When you used to go into someone, you would stop them. Like you would make them fumble. You would stop their speed boost. Fastest 2K ever. But it had OP defense, and it wasn't no steals. The ankle breakers were low. Now look, the ankle breakers were low in 16 and 15, and I think 14. I don't really too much remember. The ankle breakers were low, but the game speed was fast. I always tell y'all, the recipe for a good 2K, if you're gonna make a more slowed down 2K, ankle breakers have to be high. Now, if you're gonna make a fast 2K, ankle breakers low. That's a better balance. That's why in 17, it was cool because it was slower than 16 and 15. You couldn't do as many angles as 16 and 15. Like what I mean by that is like your angle towards the rim. That's when Mike Wang started to put you in more canned animations, and he started, like how in 25 now, there's a parachute and you can't really run directly at the rim. When 17 came out, that's when he started to really implement that. You used to be able to go straight, and you weren't just stuck in so many animations. You could burst out of so many different angles in these 2Ks compared to like 17. But a lot of people, they have 17 as they go to or whatever, but they just didn't know these games that much. Yeah, 16, the offense was so immaculate, so much diversity. The defense was peak. The part cards, I was complaining about that so much, but it really didn't happen that often. It really only happened to streamers every now and then, but still not even then. It was broke out there. The build system was peak. No Hall of Fame badges, no takeover guy. This was back in the day where how quick stopping is now. That is just your normal movement, guys. You just cook someone, you just go to the side, shoot. Like, it wasn't no like crazy glitchy stuff and all that. This made it to where the NPCs, the casuals, they could, they had more control. They enjoyed it way more. It's kind of hard to explain. People might think it's some cheesy or whatever, but nah, bro. You used to have to really try to fade on 16. Now you catch the ball, it'll make you fade. You try to stop, you fading, all this dumb. 16, you could really just plant your feet, shoot, control your mind player, peak, bro. The game all around was just immaculate. Okay? This was back when it was skill driven. It was not builder driven. It was not trying to use certain archetypes and builds. It wasn't about no cheating strategy. And these 2Ks just so peak, bro. Game should be about skill gap. 17 was when the downfall began. 17 was when it shot bad. But 17 still was better than all the 2Ks after it. We're gonna put 17 right here, right? Good-ish. Now, during 17, I was saying the game was trash. Of course, I still think it was complete garbage. A lot of people say it was trash. But thing about 17, bro, is every 2K that came after it is way better. Like, it's not even close, bro. People try to say nostalgia, all this and that, but you can't compare two things if you don't know like what the other thing is. It's like get a girl, you don't know about your future girl. You can't compare. You complaining about your girl, but then a girl you get 5 years later, you like, whoa, this way worse. And then you're like, man, damn. Never know what you have until it's gone. That's just truth, bro. But 2K17, bro. This is when the archetypes, they started doing the money, the brick wall screens, they was really trying to like game. This is when the stage skill gap was so diminished. People was cheesing them Hall of Fame brick wall screens, hella broken arcade nonsense. But the offense overall, it was very fun. And there was a tremendous skill gap, okay? You could still ISO and compete at the highest levels, but it was kind of hard because them damn speed boosting sharps. The dribbling was peak, the movement was peak, but 15 and 16, they were just way better. There was less of the angles, the parachute. There was like patches during the game. He's making moves take a little longer and he's trying to nerf all this and that. The defense was pretty good besides the damn brick wall screens and like the perimeter D, you could really lock up. You could really cook ISO. You could use screens, all that. Shooting wasn't 17 shooting. It was easier than 16 and 15, but every 2K after 17 was harder, besides probably like 21 old gen, like where you just had to be the play shot. But the contest system, it wasn't just fried like 18 after. That's when they started going casual mode deep. Okay, they had the lockdowns here, they had the sharps, they had the damn slashers, the shot creators, the post scorers, all that. Like, bro, they had a bunch of grand badges, the takeovers. I could still have like crazy fun. Like, this was annoying because them damn brick walls and the stretch bigs, right? They did have that stupid on the 2. That's why that 2 was never real ball. Them straight hoes. You couldn't do that stretch big cheese on the 3s or the 5s. You could only do it on the 2, right? So that automatically tells you that the stretch bigs in 17 were as OP as 18 or 19, right? But that was annoying. It was running point guard and but they couldn't do that on the 3s. Grand badges was kind of fun. The big boxes. Look, you see that box right there? Oh man, bro, I miss these 2Ks, man. The skill gap, the fun gap. And you know what's so funny? The sim side also likes these 2Ks more. You know, like you could play realistic and compete with people. Like you don't see me crazy cheesing. Like I'm just doing like normal moves, bro. This is on my sharpshooter, so it's not even a dribbler right here. You know, these are just clips and like, you know, you could play realistic and compete with people. They nerfed realism out the game. Like they force you to cheese if you like play calm. Like you have no choice, my nigga. Like you could play real hoops and really fry, bro. That was cheesy or whatever the fuck you want to call it. What else about 17 am I missing, man? This is when the community blew up, man. Everybody was blowing up. Everybody's getting thousands of views on stream. PlayStation, streaming from PlayStation give you crazy views. People was loving 2K. This is when 17 really blew up. I think if 16 came after, oh my God, that would have exploded. The 2K community would have exploded. If 15 came after, it would have super exploded, but then they dropped 18. Idiot. Mike Wang is an idiot, bro. But yeah, if you guys didn't know this, like over time, gaming becomes more popular to people, you know? Gaming right now is more popular than it's ever been. You know, more people are gaming and all this and that. And 17 was when more people are gaming. But yeah, y'all rate these 2Ks down below, man. Now look at the tier list, guys. I had to put some spaces because it's a big gap. It's a big gap. Now these next, well, actually, I'm gonna still keep doing it in order. NBA 2K18 is next. We gonna put it on the last row. Find Mike Wang for cucumber treatment. Okay, let me give you, okay. Y'all know what I mean. Now, 2K18 is not the worst 2K at all. The whole community, we never thought there would be another 2K as bad as 18. It wasn't just because Fortnite came out and all this and that. It was horrible compared to 17, 16, 15, and 14. It was so bad. People said it was realistic when it's not, right? It was not. It was more arcade than any 2K. This is when stretch big became God. The contest system fried. This is when paint mashing with centers became a thing, and it was just broken. The snatchbacks, you could run through people on a 5'7", 60 overall. You could just run through everyone. The skill gap was done. Speed boost, the game speed was super slow compared, and it was just horrible. It wasn't just because of Fortnite, you know? But you could have fun on this. You could. If you're playing bots, people way below your level, you could have fun. The dribbling was decent compared. See, look, when we had 18 dribbling, we was like, this is horrible. Because we only knew 17, 16, 15, 14, or some of y'all only knew like one or two of those 2Ks, right? We didn't know that the dribbling would get worse. We didn't know. So again, we didn't know what we had until it was gone. It's just not no nostalgia, none of that. But you could dribble a little bit and get freaky with it. This is when the spinning became possible. The Steezo 18 was the, but that's the most realistic. You could have two stretch bigs, three stretch bigs in the center, three stretch bigs, three centers could run the stage. The skill gap was gone. After 17, the stage doesn't matter. After 17, so all these people, all this, it don't matter. The skill gap has been removed so bad. After 17, that the whole game was fried. People was running into you, snatch back. And in 18, bro, I dropped so many 60 bombs on 2K League players. I dropped 72 points on a 2K League player not playing for 3 days. I was him, and I barely played this hoe. But this is when centers got broken in the paint. This is when they changed the physics to where if you drive, say 3 people jump at you in the paint, and you have an open dot and you try to, now it deflects off their body instead of your my player being smart enough to not hit people. Now the body physics were horrible. They cooked the whole game. Like, it's hard to pass now. It used to be way easier to pass, way more efficient and fluid, and you could make people pay for doubling, tripling, and crashing down and picking up. You could make people pay for playing help D. That's how the game should be. If you're jumping at me, I should be able to hit somebody or take it up real quick. You know, you're out of position, you jump, you miss jump, I take it up, score. But now they made it to where, oh, he can mistime his jump and still block you, even though you timed him. It was just horrible, bro. Contest system got cooked. Shooting became way easy. Perimeter defense was okay-ish. Besides walking through you, you could really throw. You could keep up when the speed boosting was kind of slow. Your combos and all that. It was doable. The walking size ups, I hated them hoes, but I know dribble gods loved it. it. Making 6'10" power forwards running through. You know, it wasn't as bad as some other 2Ks, but it was still compared to what we had. But to figure out how to play 18, like we had to figure, because that was, bro, if people were playing 18 how they intended, oh my God, bro. But this is where they fucked their community really bad. And this is when it became harder to get games. They stopped filling up the parks. It wasn't, you know, I don't know what's wrong with them. Oh, I don't know what's wrong with these. These don't listen. And this is, they cooked the park area. They did it. They did it. This when the 2K League came out. They stopped filling up the park, man. And then they started making this damn city and shit. All they would have to do is just fill up the park, put in more people, but they wouldn't do it. They weren't listening. Several 2Ks. So stupid. NBA 2K19. A lot of y'all love this 2K. I'm gonna put this at Horde, right? Listen. Now, the 19 dribbling was so peak. It was so amazing. The movement was amazing. It was slower than 17, 16, 15, but it was still amazing. The dribbling, the comboing, amazing. Amazing. Listen very closely, guys, because y'all are going to see me put other 2Ks ahead of this, but there's a reason why. The offense, the dribbling, okay? Not just dribbling, just the overall movement, the scoring, just being able to dunk, all this and that. It was so fire, so peak, but this was the most broken 2K ever, bro. The post scores in their prime, bro, they would have a record of like 15,050, bro. It was broken. The double takeover was broken. Stretch big prime, the most broken 2K ever. The dexing, 3 centers running stage and like it was broken. Like it was too broken. The 6'10" locks were faster than the guards. They could shoot with a 53 ball in the corner. The contest system was cooked. Shooting was way too easy, right? But you could still have fun if you was cooking little bots and shit. But if you wanted to, if you played like certain type of, and I would get sniped from like doing host, like you could speed boost on the damn post scores on the twos and you know, like they had pushing, bro. They had pushing for like 8, 6 months, 7, whatever. Bro, the dribble glitch. This is when everyone figured out how to dribble glitch. 19 was the beginning. You could not get ankle breakers on this hole, right? People would just hold they. It was fun, but at sometimes it wasn't fun. I would fry the people. I beat so many top players, all this and that. It was so fun, bro. It was fun, but it was like it was too broke. You feel me? Like I know a lot of y'all love 19, but dribble glitch, stretch big, that got to go. You know, I led the community getting that stretch big patch, bro, and getting the dribble glitch patched. The double takeover was nuts, But you could definitely have fun if you didn't face certain, man. And this is when they could come up to you and just press square and rip you. And your speed boost wasn't really fast enough to really cook certain locks like you could, but it was a real struggle, man. It was a real struggle, but it was broke. 19 had the most potential out of any 2K. Like they fixed so many different things. It could be the top 2, but there was just so many things up about it that it's bottom tier, you know, but it had so much potential. Okay, listen to what I'm saying. I know y'all like, cause y'all gonna see the 2Ks I put above it, but it's only because the post scores weren't as broken, the stretch bigs weren't as broke, and there was no dribble glitch, right? You know. Now 2K20, this 2K was hype because of the virus. Okay, it was not a good 2K. It was horrible, but way better than the 2Ks we have now. Same with 19. Where the hell is 2K20? Oh, right here. 2K20, I don't want to put it in front of 19, but I have to. The only reason why is because this is when stretch bigs were eliminated. Now, NBA 2K20, it was way better. It was way better than so many 2Ks. It was just too slow, bro. And the dribble glitch was here, right? This was the first time I lost to players like She Loves Shifty that are like the GOATs. I used to beat them in all the 2Ks, right? I beat so many comp stage legends and people in 2K20. So don't, you know, I used to run 3 locks with flow jerk. 2K20, it was too slow. The defense was cooked. I liked the quick stopping. You know, you see that? You see the movement? It was cool, right? Like, it was cool, but it was too slow. Your movement too slow. They could just run up to you, steal the damn ball. The paint beast was broken. They were faster than guards. The locks, there was the two-way slashers, and you know, they was okay, right? But that damn dribble glitch, it was fried. The shooting, it was nice, right? The defense was way better than these newer 2Ks. Only reason I'm putting this above 19 is because it didn't have pushing. The stretch bigs was cooked, and they nerfed post scores, right? That's the only reason I have it above 19, right? Like, all those things that made like 19 super broken, the double takeover, all that, like 19 was too broken, or it would be better. The offense on 19, like the movement, the dribbling, way better than 20, okay? Not even close, but there was just too much broken, right? It was dribble glitching, guys. It was dribble glitching all the way up the court behind them damn brick wall screens that were Hall of Fame, and they was broken as hell. The screens was broken as hell. You could alley-oop cheese on this hoe. It was just so cooked. Like, if the game speed was faster, they patched that damn behind the back. Oh my God, that behind the back was so fun. God, I missed that behind the back, bro. I wish they didn't take that out, bro. That, I don't know what's wrong with 2K, man, but they went a little slower, all this and that. You had way more control than these newer 2Ks. You know, you can't do this now. Isn't that sad, guys? You know, so funny. Everyone only shot. No one was shooting in 70%. I think I shot like 60 something in this 2K. But most people was shooting in their 50s. Only super tight people was shooting in their 60s. And if they played people on their level, they wasn't shooting in their 60s, guys. You know? But great 2K, if it was sped up and they nerfed so many of the broken things. Couldn't get games in the park, all this and that. They didn't want to fill it up. Stupid, bro. Such a community. But these 2Ks was way, way better than what we got now, man. It's kind of sad, bro. But this game was not peak. Maybe this was a beginning or awakening for a lot of people. You know, some people might have touched earlier 2Ks, but they woke up in like 20 or 19, and then that's their era, you know? But yeah, now 2K21. This is when I'ma lose a lot, even more. This game was horrible, okay? And by the way, this is all next gen 2Ks at this point, right? I'ma put it above 2K20. I know. What the you talking, I'ma say? I know. It was arcade as hell, saying it was realistic. All these Sim Nation losers, it is. But look, I'm gonna tell you why I have 21 above 20. And it's simply because the dribble glitch was removed. The paint beats, the alley-oop cheese. You know, this hoe was laggy as hell and all that. But there was no dribble glitch, guys. I know the dunks was broken and all that. This was horrible, but you could do a little bit. You know, it was bad. You could do a little bit, but it was still bad, bro. It was horrible. I don't know what they were thinking, bro. This is when the city came out. What were they thinking, bro? Oh my God, bro. Bro, this game was so nuts. You just dunk it on forward to take over. This was so bad. This is the Facebook era, man. Oh my God. So much money streaming on Facebook. And guys, there was RNGs in these 2Ks, but it wasn't as it is now. But like, look at this, bro. Like, there's no dribble glitch. So I have to do it, bro. Basically everyone was a paint beast. This game was nuts. If y'all actually saw the build, it was actually nuts. Like, it was, but I gotta put it ahead because of the dribble glitch. No stretch bigs. I'm telling you, that is not basketball. A lot of y'all think I'm some arcade. I'm not, bro. You know, I do all that, but bro, I don't with that stretch big cheese and the dribble glitch. That is lame, man. Now look, this is where I'm gonna lose a lot of you, but some of you might be hip. NBA 2K22. Actually, let's make a new NBA 2K22. We created a whole new role, guys, right here. Big gap, as y'all can see. 22 is the best next gen game. By far, it's not even close. Y'all see the gaps, okay? Huge gaps. Reason I have 22 above. Now, some of y'all might understand. The game speed, it was with it. The dribbling, okay? If we had more combos like these 2Ks, it could have been something. And if the shooting wasn't so easy, this is the easiest shooting 2K until 23 and 20. A lot of y'all think like 23 and 24, like people was complaining. It's because we figured out they was making us miss, but we was still shooting higher than 22. 22 was nuts. I wish they didn't patch the movement and all that. That was fun, bro. It was fun. It's in the top 5 2Ks, bro. It was fun. You could lock this up. If they just had more perimeter D and the contest was better, could have been something, bro. It was almost there. It was almost there. And 22 let you know that they have the abilities. So everything they do is a choice. They have the abilities. It's not just this oldish engine and all that. They have the abilities. They can do it, bro. They can do it, man. They made it. Like, they made the movement. You seen it, bro. There was so much potential. There was a skill gap again. It was there. It was a little nuts. Screens hit a little too hard. Finishing was kind of cooked, but there was potential. The skill gap was there. For the centers, somewhat way higher than so many of the 2Ks, like the mush. It was back. You know, the shooting wasn't. God, I know a lot of y'all think like the shooting was crazy easy. It was crazy easy, but to randoms, they were still missing. When I go to the rec, when I went to the old gym or whatever, they were still missing. Stop missing every shot, guys. That's nuts. In 2K22, all they had to do was make the shooting a little harder, bro. So many other different things. And it was really one of them ones, bro. It was cool, bro. Movement was pretty good. Oh, and the fading was too OP, bro. The double takeover fading was too OP. The instant steals, I think it's kind of hard to remember, but bro, the movement was peak, bro. The fading was too OP. Fading should not be better than damn stopping the shoot. It had potential, bro. It had potential, dog. It had potential. Now, NBA 2K23 right here. It's horrible. Now, 2K23. Yes, it's worse than 18, my nuts. That's when they added adrenaline, all the damn industry plants, community at war, when they started ruining the game and introducing OD RNG, even though Green or Miss, wasn't that 23 was pretty bad. I broke the record for the olds or the no squad streak, and I went on like 160 plus streak. I used to go on streaks in no squad non-stop. I was cold. But that's when RNG was in the game. The most broken move ever, the Russell Westbrook crossover, was in the game. You instantly teleport. That's why these 2Ks was way more arcade than the golden era. The adrenaline, you just losing random adrenaline. You was losing adrenaline, bursting off. It was bad, bro. Defense was cooked. I think everyone was doing 6'9s or I think they something like that, and there was no defense, no perimeter defense, instant steals. They was cooking the dribble moves. You basically had to play meta to play versus decent people, man. The perimeter D was cooked. Everything was cooked, bro. Very, very bad game. Game speed was so lame, so trash. Very bad game. And the shooting was easier than 22, but they were playing God, random speed ups and slowdowns. And like, they was really fucked the game. 2K24, even worse. The game became even slow. Took out even more dribble moves, somewhat fixed the adrenaline. The meter dunk was broke, but it was cool. It's one of the better meter dunks, but it was still flawed. And Harden combo moves was broken. You basically had to play meta to compete versus decent people. I'm not talking about top tier 1%. Just decent people had to play meta. No defense, instant steals. You could shoot from full court, spam full court shots all game, more speed ups and slowdowns. And this 2K was even easier to shoot than 22-23. Even easier to shoot, even easier. But they're making you miss. They're playing God on the game. Dribble moves, speed boosting, everything just so boring and slow. So trash. I'm really getting depressed talking about this. Like, talking about the new gen 2Ks is so depressing, bro. The defense cooked, everything cooked. I don't even want to talk about this anymore, bro. So bad. Everything was just broken about the game. So many different things, so many things, so broke, bro. 25, it got even worse. The game got slower. They took out so many realistic dribble moves. It became, you can't do nothing, bro. Like, it's now there's so much RNG. There's so many more pauses in the dribble moves, the animations, the speed boosting. The same with 23, 24, but now it's even worse. So many pauses. You can't run out of this, can't run out of that. It makes everyone play the same. Everyone had to play the same in 24. Everyone had to play the same in 23. You had to, because there's so few dribble moves to where you can get a certain move that's somewhat effective. Nothing's effective. Everything's slow and clunky. Everything's bad. The finishing's bad. Defense bad. Instant steals, not instant steals. Oh my God, I'm so depressed right now. I'm so glad I'm at the end. Bro, everything's bad, bro. I don't even, bro, this whole suck. I don't know, man. Y'all put y'all list down below. I hope this was listenable, bro. I was really just rambling. All in all, here's the list. I know it looks crazy. Here's the list. Now let's delete the rows so we can make it cohesive. But that's how I really feel putting these gaps, bro, so y'all can really understand the difference. And that's the list, man. Y'all click the video on the screen, man.
But hey, here we go again. Yeah. Here we go again. People talking this, but when this hit the fan, everything I'm at made me. Now break it down. Yo, off the top of the dome.